Thank you so much for joining us for yet another episode of Successful Women Talk here on your Golden Channel, Channel 265. Today I'm joined by an educator who stands out from most educators, judging by the number of hours that she's won within the educational space. Her name is Florence Bekwa. Ms. Bekwa, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We are not going to touch so much on the education itself only, but I would love you to take us on your journey as a young girl in terms of what were your aspirations growing up?
Well, growing up, I always wanted to be a geologist. I'm fascinated by nature. At one of our trips, we got to meet geologists. We got to touch those rocks, the types of rocks. When I went to high school in geography, I used to love geography so much. So that fascinated me, and I felt I want to be a geologist because I want to be in that space. Reality came when I was in grade 11, although I didn't know. One of my teachers, my English teachers, used to send me to class to teach fellow students English.
All right.
I didn't know what she saw in me, but I used to do that and I used to love it. After passing my matric, I passed my matric very well with an exemption and one distinction. My father had promised me to take me to school, as long as staying together with my mom. I went to him, I showed him my results, very happy and excited that the following year I'm going to school to study geology. But unfortunately, my dad turned me down. He had his reasons to say, you were not supposed to be there, you were supposed to be here, and he did not give me the money to go to school. From there, I went home, I cried a lot. I was so bitter and angry with my dad. I think it lasted for about 7 years. But soon after that, my mom had to pick up the pieces and take me to school, although she thought there was money that was reserved for my schooling, for my dad's side, because when they separated with my mom, he sold the site where they had built together, and he said he's going to put some of that money for my studies and my little brother. So she had no funds or plan for such for me. But because of the love that she had for me, she had to make ends meet. And I finally went to college.
Considering that when you finish matric, you are in your late teens, right? You really understood that, okay, this man had promised, but he has let me down. How did that affect you emotionally, and just the fact that you knew that this man is just standing away from your dreams? How did that affect you emotionally?
It affected me a lot. I remember I don't have 3 years since I think 2005. I never used to celebrate Father's Day. Anytime someone would mention a father, it would be a thorn in my heart. Even when you go to church on a Sunday that is a Father's Day, I felt it was a waste. I was so angry with my dad that somehow I feel like I was walking with a stone in my heart. And the manner in which I related with the opposite sex, it's like I would see my father in everyone, and I didn't have good relationships with the opposite sex growing up because of that. But at some point, I found myself and I found Christ, and somehow I managed to forgive my dad before he passed away.
And how did now you're going to college, I take it now you have to go and study something different altogether. How did you get to accept that move to say, okay, the situation does not allow me to do what I wanted to do, but now I have to make adjustments? Because most of the times I feel people fail to adjust to fit circumstances.
My first year, I did the first modules for geology. There were 12. and I passed them very well. Fortunately, when I got to college, I applied for NFSAS, I got it. And I also, I was told actually to say the system has picked you up and you've got the Vice Chancellor's Award because you've got an A in your grades. So they are going to pay for your tuition. You're only going to pay for rest and your food. And that was a plus for me. And at least it shifted some of the burden from my mom. So for that year, I was okay. My mom had to just see to it that she pays my rest and she also pays for my food. So that was okay. But at the end of that year, I was pregnant as a teenager. December, I had to give birth.
Wow.
I went home, I was pregnant, and I went home with my results where I passed very well. My mom was angry with me, but happy at the same time because I brought back what I went to school for. After that, I decided to take a gap year to raise my child. My mom said no, go back to school.
Go back to school.
But you know, the situation was so terrible at home that I felt like if I go back to school, I know how they are surviving at home when I'm there. When I say I need money for this, I know how much they struggle back home because when my mom and my dad separated, I had to step in as the dad in the house. When my mom gets paid, I'll also get paid in my Mega U account. And I had to see to it that I buy food in the house, I pay my mother's bills. And I knew that my mother remains with nothing at the end of the day. Now this is an extra something. So I thought, okay, let me take a gap here, raise my child, next year I'll see what to do. But my mother was not in agreement. Luckily, in the township where I live, there was a vacancy to say they need someone who has got a matric and who can speak English fluently. And that person should come and volunteer to teach the grade ones. And I felt that is me. And I went there. And that's how I started being a teacher, by volunteer.
And how did you just adjust to say, okay, I know the situation at home is so bad, right? But now I've got another addition to the family. I'd love you to take us to your mental state then. What kept you going, and emotionally, what state of mind were you in?
I felt I'm no longer my mom's responsibility because I've now brought in someone who was not there before. If my mom has to step in to help me take care of the child, it means I have to take care of myself. That is why I thought working is a solution for me. And when I started working in that school, I was earning 700. And my childminder at home was earning 500. The father of the child was the one paying the 500, of course, but practically it means I was earning 200. But I'm one person who, when I do something, I make sure that I put myself into whatever I'm doing and I'm serious about it. The way I would dress up to go to work, you wouldn't think I'm earning 700. And I did it so well that one of my students at the end of the year went to the next biganyana school from the one that I was teaching in because it was a private school. And when he got there, he was refused admission. And the mother said, no, please interview my child. If he is not good, then I'll allow you to turn him down. They did interview the child, and the child came out to talk. And they were wondering to say, this child is from a good school and good teachers. Why are you bringing them here? And then the parent explained to say the school is closing down because the owners are moving to Joburg. And then the principal said, I can only take your child if you give me 3 teachers from that school. And then that is how I earned a job in the next private school, which paid a little bit better. By then I was earning 3,500. And then that is how I started registering for my bachelor's degree, because at that point now I had fallen in love with education. I had fallen in love with what I was doing, and I felt maybe everything that happened in my life happened for a reason and a purpose, that I be redirected to my purpose in life, because I believe each and every one of us has a purpose in this world, and sometimes our dreams may not be taking us to the purpose that God created for us. But for me, I feel everything that happened for a reason, so that I can be redirected to my purpose. I started my education. As I stand with you here now, I've got 2 degrees and I'm still studying even now. I'm specializing in mathematics now, and I'm also pursuing my master's.
As a young person, right, most of the times you find when you fall pregnant, right, in as much as you try to make ends meet, people always somehow lose direction in terms of where they want to go. What kept you focused in terms of saying, okay, I'm gonna put my all in this so that I excel? Because looking at that time, you were in your early 20s, where a lot of people will still be in that position of trying to find themselves.
Of course, I wanted to change the status quo of my family and make things better for my mom. But this time, because I had a little daughter, I didn't want my daughter to go through what I went through. I wanted to make it in such a way that I make my daughter proud, even though she was still a little baby. I wanted her to look up to me and say, you know what, I'm proud of my mom. My mom is my role model. And I've managed to do that. If you can interview my daughter, she will tell you that my mom is the strongest person I know. Whatever I did, I made sure that I succeed for her.
Talking of role models, right, as a young girl growing up in the township, did you have any mentors? Who were your role models, and who did you look up to say, when I grow old, I want to be like so and so, or I want to achieve just as much as so and so has?
Unfortunately, I had people that I looked up to who had succeeded in life, but in my space, I never had a geologist. I only got to meet one when we went for a school trip, and I never met him again. Yes. But I knew inside me that one day I want to be a geologist, and one day I want to make it in life, despite the situation that I had at home.
You're watching Successful Women Talk. To join us in this conversation, you can be in touch with us on s_women_meg, that is on Instagram. Or you can contact us on telephone number 071 481 6091. Membegwa, I would like you to take us now in your journey to your journey as an educator. You've been moved from one school to the other. You're now earning better, right? And you now know that this is what I want to do on the long term, right? What challenges did you face adjusting to the workspace and being the teacher that you are today?
Some of the challenges that I meet as an educator is overcrowded classrooms. But it's a challenge that makes me to be creative in a way. The manner in which I organize my learners in the classroom, it's in such a way that I am able to move around, even though it's an overcrowded classroom. I also have extra lessons after school. I have Saturday lessons where I teach my learners. And with the pandemic, it has made it worse, because you find that you see, especially last year, there was a time where learners will come 3 days in a week, 1 week, 2 days in another week. And in a way, the challenge would be for you to finish the syllabus. Not only to finish the syllabus, but to teach in a way that you know that you have taught, and the learners have grasped what you have taught, because it's not really about finishing, but it is about teaching and making sure that the learners have understood what you taught. That is where I started with WhatsApp teaching.
All right.
Yes, to be able to teach the children even when they are at home. Remember when we had the first lockdown?
Yes, level
the first
5.
Part
yes.
was like, okay, it's some kind of a holiday, we're going to go back, you know. But when the president announced the extension, then I realized that this is coming in hard on us as educators, because time is going. Then I started implementing WhatsApp teaching. I looked for numbers for my kids, used the parents' phones, because some of the children did not have phones. And then we started teaching on WhatsApp. When the children came back to school, there is rotational. You cannot manage to finish everything, especially for mathematics in grade 7. And I had to start Saturday lessons.
Oh,
At
wow.
least if you can see them for 3 hours on one Saturday, then you are able to know
cover.
that I have covered everything and my learners understand whatever it is that I was teaching. Another challenge that I found was the learners' inability to be able to read and comprehend. Fortunately, there was a program that was introduced to us by Mzansi Spelling Bee. When that program was introduced, they wanted 3 volunteers. I was one of the volunteers. I was still new in the school, but it was something that interested me a lot, spelling, and I volunteered. We used to teach learners how to spell after school, and I saw how much difference that class was making, because the children who used to attend classes for spelling used to stand out in the classes. The teachers would comment to say, these children are no longer the same with the ones that are not attending the classes. And then in that way, I thought, when that program ended, we were having about 97 kids. Overall, one of our child from that group is the one that won in the whole of South Africa.
Oh, wow.
Fulani Baloyi, if you've heard about her on television and newspapers. She won in the whole of South Africa, and then she represented South Africa in Kenya and Uganda.
Oh, wow.
In 2018 and 2019 respectively. Then I thought, why not start something like that to be able to help children in a bigger space
Oh,
than
wow.
the ones that we helped before. And we started an organization with my fellow educators, 2 other educators that were together, and the name of the organization is Spell It Out Club. We remain after school and teach learners how to spell, how to read, and how to use a dictionary, which is very important for the fundamentals of English. And you know that English is the
yes.
lingua franca in South Africa.
And what makes you stand out as an educator, right? I'll actually want you to take us on the need to go all out, because I'll say you've won awards and everything because of the work that you put in. How important is it to be able to say, okay, I'm the person who's volunteering for this?
Let me start by saying most of us as educators, we're not dreaming to be educators, most of us. But it's a career that most of us fell back on. This is what I think. I think it's about time as educators we accept where we are and take responsibility for where we are. It's okay. You once dreamt of being a doctor, you once dreamt of being a psychologist or whatever it is that you think is better, but
you're here.
I'm here now,
Okay.
being the educator that I am. And actually, I think educators are important because educators are the ones who are birthing that doctor. They are the ones who are birthing that lawyer, that pilot. Actually, education is the mother of all professions. So I think as educators, it's about time we accept that we are here. And because we are here, we are called. This is not just a job for us to get money to feed our families. This is a calling. And the calling does not come from people.
Oh, that's true.
It doesn't come from the qualification that we got from the university. But the call comes from the Most High, who is our God. That is why sometimes He can move things around in your life to redirect you to your purpose.
Oh, yes.
Accept that this is your purpose in life, to be able to nurture a small child, to become something in life, to be able to make sure that this child at the end of the day lives a quality life because you have taught. So I take it as a calling to say I'm a teacher because I'm called. And the one who calls me is always watching me. Because sometimes I may go to a class and dilly-dally and not do what I'm supposed to do because I think the children are small, they can't see anything. But there is one who has called you and who is always watching you. And when I read in the Bible, I'm a Christian, it says He is the rewarder of
That's
our
for sure.
work. sometimes as we work, we look to people to say, these parents must appreciate me, this principal must appreciate me, my colleagues should appreciate me, the children must appreciate me. But actually, we are not doing it unto them. We are doing it unto our master who has called us. And he is the one who rewards, not people. So for me, it's a calling, and a calling that I feel I must do my utmost best. Whether there is a parent watching, whether there is my seniors watching or not, but there is the one who has called me, who is always watching.
We'll be right back for you to tell us about the rewards that you've received in this profession. One thing that I would love us to touch on, right? How important is teamwork within a school? You just mentioned that you work with your fellow educators to assist kids in learning. How important is it to be able to work as a team?
One thing for sure is that there is no one who knows everything. Fortunately for me, my principal puts me under a lot of pressure, because ever since I joined the school, he always trusts that I know everything. Although I don't, but I give myself time to research on whatever it is that needs to be done, be it virtual meetings, because now we're introduced to these virtual meetings, be it Google Classroom, WhatsApp teaching that needs to be done. Whatever it is that is thrown at me, I hold it with both hands, research if I need to, ask from other teachers if I need to ask to do that, and equip myself with knowledge to be able to do the task at hand. One thing for sure is there is no one, or let me say in our space as teachers, there is no teacher who knows everything. You need others, and others need you. Even in a particular subject, I teach mathematics. I may be good in algebra and not good in geometry. I've got my fellow colleagues who are good maybe in geometry. They can come and assist me in my classroom whilst I watch and learn. It's important to work as a team. You find that someone is weak in this part and I'm strong in this part. We sit together, we discuss, and we strengthen each other. When we stand in front of the kids, we should stand being that confident teacher who knows everything. Meanwhile, it wasn't like that in the beginning. That is all because of what? Of teamwork.
Teamwork.
You learn from other people and other people learn from you.
And at what point did you win your first award? Because you've told us just how you volunteered to do some stuff. At what point did you win your first award?
My first award was when I worked at the second private school.
Okay.
There was a program that came with Janine Plunkett and Alan Davis from Australia that is called THRUS, teaching learners how to read, how to write, and how to spell. That was more like my first formal education in teaching. Okay. And that kind of gave me some oomph and confidence to stand in front of the kids, because there was something that I know that I could do with the children. And little did I know that they are watching what we are doing. And at some point in 2009, they came back to see as to how far we have implemented the program, because we were the first people to receive the program in South Africa. Then they took some videos of all of us teaching that program of THRUS, in some spelling, some in reading, some in whatever it was. I didn't expect to be one of the people who will be broadcasted on YouTube, because I was not qualified, remember, by that time, and I didn't even think I'm contributing much. But later on, when I found that my lesson was on YouTube, on www.thrust.com/South Africa, I was so excited. That was my first, I wouldn't say it was an award per se, but for me, I regard it as an award, because it's kind of recognizing
you at a certain point.
The importance of what I was doing. And amongst all the teachers that were there, I think we were about 30-something teachers. I was interviewed on behalf of all the foundation phase teachers on the program, to say what I think about the program. It's like, it was wow. I felt like I have stood out for all the teachers in South Africa. So that is where I started, and it inspired me to say, okay, there is a change that I'm making. there's a difference that I'm making. I'm contributing into the education fraternity, and I felt this is inspirational for me, and it propels me to do more. Up to today, where I've won as a national icon for primary school teaching.
Now, the 1 hour that you mentioning now, right? I'm sure it's one of the biggest hours within the teaching fraternity, right? How was it being recognized to say the educational fraternity recognizes your work, even if we are far from what people call the busy life of Joburg?
Yes, from a teacher in Limpopo, young and energetic. I used to dedicate my time for the children, working so hard during school hours, even after school hours, even when I'm at home. I was helping the child that has been entrusted to me by God and their parents and even the Department of Education. I was just doing my part as an employee of the department. Little did I know that the school management was watching me.
All right.
Because it started from being nominated. I didn't stand out to say I want to enter the competition, but I was approached to say we have nominated you to be our representative for primary school teaching in the National Teaching Awards.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, you know, I was so busy after school, during school hours. I had my studies. My mom was sick. I had to look after her. I'm a parent. You know, I was just having so much on my plate, and I felt, I don't think I'll be able to do this. But my principal pursued me until I managed to enter the competition. And when I went there, I thought, I'm just going to learn from other professionals who are there. And I was just going for the experience. I wasn't thinking of the presents. I wasn't thinking of the prizes or anything. I thought this is going to expose me as a teacher, and I'm going to continue and learn from other people. We went to the district competition. I won. I got position 1. And when I was receiving feedback, I learned that I got 97 out of 100. And I was like, wow. And the person who came after me was around the 60 something.
Oh, wow.
That said to me, you are doing well.
Keep going.
Yes, it propelled me to go on. And we went for the provincial competition. In the province, I got position 1 again. And this one was beautiful, I must say. We got laptops and projectors. Wow. I'm one person who likes to use technology with the kids, as we are in the era of 4th Industrial Revolution. The laptop that I was having was old and was not so compatible to the projector that we had at school. So having that award was like, I was so happy. I went back to school. When I was given an opportunity to talk, I told the children that this is your award.
Oh, wow.
And it's going to make your education even better. I started using it in the class. The children started connecting, interacting with it. You know, it was just such a joyous moment.
We'll continue right back with your journey. You're watching Successful Women Talk here on your Golden Channel, Channel 265. We're going to a short break. Don't move. We'll be right back.